Since 2005, 13 out of 28 teams with number 1 or 2 seeds in the playoffs have lost their first playoff game in the divisional round. Why? Dark horses. If you guys are tuning in today, we are God tier scouting. And the agenda is we will be going over dark horse teams with fantasy league winners on their rosters. If you are a first-time viewer, please hit that like and subscribe button.
No one expected the Seattle Seahawks to be a talking point this season, let alone a possible dark horse for a deep playoff run. Seattle was supposed to be the butt of the Russell Wilson joke as their franchise tumbles into irrelevance and their former quarterback brings Denver to the promised land. Instead, the script appears to be flipped, with the Broncos offense looking like one of the weakest units put on an NFL field in recent history. Geno Smith is playing at a higher level than anyone has ever expected from him in the rest of his career, and Seattle Seahawks rookie class is loaded with studs including Charles Cross, Abraham Lucas, Kenneth Walker, and of course, Tariq Woolen, the quote massive project unquote with elite measurables who doesn't look so much like a project anymore. But enough about rookie players. How about the new offensive coordinator, Shane Waldron, the architect of the Seahawks offense this year? He is from the Sean McVay coaching tree. That includes people like Zach Taylor or Matt LaFleur, for example. These are very talented young coaches. On top of that, Geno Smith is taking advantage of opportunities that even Russell Wilson was not. And these include things like small drag routes or the seam or digs. Things that are between the numbers and easy to complete, short passes and throws that are a specialty of this Sean McVay coaching tree, this West Coast run-first attack offense. Now, Geno Smith has looked absolutely incredible this year. I don't think anyone expected that from him. In fact, not only is Geno Smith playing incredible, but he's actually elevating the entire Seahawks offense, not only to get wins, but also in the fantasy football side of the picture.
When we talk about fantasy value, we got guys like DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, Geno Smith, and we got guys like Kenneth Walker, the second-round rookie out of Michigan State. The guy's been playing absolutely phenomenal, especially since he had to step onto the scene after Rashad Penny. The guy plugged right in. He has 7 touchdowns in his last 5 games. He's a part of the passing game, and he's very effective in the running game. He's taking advantage of a revamped offensive line. And the offensive scheme, this offense is built to run the ball. And we talk about utilization. They run him, they run him, they run him. And what happened in the last game against the Buccaneers? The Buccaneers' defensive game plan was to shut down the run. What did Seattle do? They forced the ball in the air to Kenneth Walker. This guy will not only be a league winner, but he has a very promising future and great value as a dynasty.
Now we're going to talk about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers started off pretty slow in 2022. We even had a little bit of a distraction, I think, for Tom Brady, who had a divorce going on during the season, even looked a little distracted on the field at times, looked like he wasn't fully there. That Tom Brady looks like he is absolutely gone these past 2 weeks. He is no longer distracted by whatever is going on in the personal life, and he is back to football full time. And I think that's actually something that we should be talking about more with Tom Brady and the Buccaneers. Another thing that we should be mentioning is going to be the Buccaneers' positioning in the NFC. Now, if I told you if the Buccaneers last season were actually in the same spot as they are now, despite the massively different record, that might sound a little bit ridiculous to you. But the 5-5 Buccaneers are actually fourth in the NFC and in the lead of their division, which is the worst division in football, it looks like, at the moment. And Rashad White, we're going to touch on as well real quick. He took over for Leonard Fournette after Leonard Fournette's injury in the game in Munich, and he looked very impressive. He logged 20 out of 25 possible snaps on offense for the rest of the game, and that means they want him on the field. They want him out there. And the reason why is because if you look at those numbers, he put up 105 yards on 22 attempts. That is not something to scoff at. Now, the Buccaneers' positioning in the NFC is great. They have a 5-2 conference record as well, which is only worse than the Vikings and the Eagles. And even though Tom Brady's regular season performance seemed to have been suffering there for a little bit, it looks like we're done with that. And it also looks like he's going to be more of that Tom Brady we're used to seeing. Any football fan worth their salt will also tell you Tom Brady in the playoffs is very different than Tom Brady in the regular season. It doesn't really matter how he's played in the regular season. You do not want to play against Tom Brady in the playoffs. We also have a couple of injuries that are no longer plaguing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers like they have been. Guys like Chris Godwin and Mike Evans are healthy. Cameron Brate is returning. And this is a Tampa Bay team that really is positioned much better than their record would suggest. Even if you look at any of the bad performances that they have put up this year, they're still 5-2 in the NFC. And right now, they're not even a wild card team. They are the 4th seed, and that means a lot.
Now let's dive into the fantasy value of the Buccaneers. You got guys like Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, Tom Brady, Leonard Fournette, Rachaad White, my favorite, the guy who I think will be a dark horse league winner. Why do I think that? In the last 3 games, the Buccaneers have been averaging 35 rush attempts. They are 4th in offensive snaps in the NFL, and that average has been increased by 5 in their last 3 games. In his first game with 20-plus carries in Germany, his average yards per attempt was more than Leonard Fournette in Leonard Fournette's last 9 games, right? And now that Leonard Fournette is beat to hell, he's a little aged, you might say. The 3rd-round rookie is looking very promising. His upside in the receiving game is very promising. I think this guy could be an awesome dark horse coming into the fantasy playoffs this year and maybe shines a little bit of dynasty value. We will see.
While one of these teams may be regarded as a disappointment so far this year in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the other team has played above and beyond the expectations of any of their own fan base. The latter being the Seattle Seahawks, of course. Both of these teams, however, have a deceptively larger chance this year in a weak NFC, where 7 of 16 teams have a winning record and 4 out of 7 of them are in the NFC East. The Vikings are the 5th in the NFC North, and numbers 6 and 7 sit solely above their division, the Seahawks in the NFC West, and the Buccaneers in the NFC South. Thanks for watching. Leave a like and subscribe for more content. God tier scouting.